Hello, friends. Yes, I'm here. Hope you guys are doing well. Can any of us believe it's the last Friday in January already? I feel like the older I get, the faster time is passing. I used to think when I was having children that that was why it was happening, but obviously the kids are not around anymore. They're grown and on their own. And yet time just gets faster and faster and faster the older I get. I do have a scratchy throat today, so pardon me if I'm sipping on some water. I've got some hot green tea here as well, but I'm going to try to keep my throat moistened as much as possible. Today, I just wanted to do a kind of a recap stream regarding some of the key moments for Rich Cat Ranch in 2022. It will be an open panel. And so anyone who's interested in hopping on and being on screen for a little while to share about their own 2022 story, I would love for you to share with us. But I'm just going to kind of go down a list. I have a list of things in the order they occurred. I've got some pictures for some of them. I've got some videos for some of them. We'll still do our standard channel stats for channel members and previous guests on the show. I have some did you knows and on this days to do today. We'll play a little bit of a wrong answers only game today. And I think I've got a couple of other things I thought we would do that we can try out. Richard and I are brainstorming on some new video ideas for you guys. They may start out as members only videos because they're going to be different from what we've done on the channel up to now. So our channel members might be the guinea pigs to let us know if it looks like it's something that other viewers would enjoy as well. But the first thing I want to share with you guys is related to a loss at Rich Cat Ranch. So some of you may know that late in the year in 2021, we lost our German Shepherd boy Bandit. He was a white German Shepherd dog, our first foster failure. He was about 10 years old, and he had a brain tumor that had gone undiagnosed for who knows how long. It may have been there his whole life. Hello, Stephen at Papa's Kitchen. Thanks for being here today. And so that was a really sad ending to 2021. Well, 4 months later, in March of 2022, we lost our boy Cooper. So he was the first German Shepherd dog that we rescued. We adopted him directly from the shelter in Allen, Texas, like a month after we moved. Well, I guess it was about 6 weeks after we moved here to the property at Rich Cat Ranch. He was my once in a lifetime dog. I have had so many favorite dogs. I grew up with dogs. We always had German Shepherd dogs. But there was something about Cooper. He was my helper. He was my partner. He helped me teach a lot. In fact, all of the foster dogs that were here while Cooper was with us, which is all of them because we got Cooper before we started fostering, he taught them. He taught them how to behave in the house. He taught them how to get along with the other dogs and cats and, stay off of the counters and not go to the bathroom in the house. He was just an amazing dog. And none of that, we didn't teach him to do any of that. He naturally did that. He assumed that role. He was the protector of the cats and the ducks and the puppies that would come into our home. And just was really a once in a lifetime dog. I have one other dog that's close to Cooper, and only because of when he was a part of my life. Because when I was a little girl, we had a German Shepherd named Baby that we took with us to Florida when we moved from Texas to Jacksonville, Florida. I was in Jacksonville from 1968 to 1972, and Baby was an amazing dog, and I think of him still often. I know we had a couple of dogs before Baby, but I was like just before I turned 6, because I was born in 62. We moved to Florida in the summer of 1968. So just before I turned 6. So aside from remembering dogs because I've seen pictures of them and have heard stories, I don't know that I can remember the bond quite as strongly as I did with Baby. So when Cooper came along, he moved to the top of the list. Cooper had undiagnosed hemangiosarcoma. He was 13, at least 13. We get rescue dogs in, and when they're adults already, when we get them, or when they look to be adults already, it's just a guessing game on how old they are. So again, Bandit was about 10 years old. Cooper was about 13, which is a good long life for a German Shepherd dog. And he had undiagnosed hemangiosarcoma. He slipped on the ice at the end of February. We had a ridiculous ice storm here. Like businesses were all shut down. Everything was frozen over. A lot of people were without power. And he was coming in from a potty break and he slipped. I saw him slip. He came in, and over the course of about the next 24 hours, he began to have a lot of trouble walking and getting up from laying down. And I thought he had hurt himself. I thought he hurt his back, maybe. He was a big dog. And so we just monitored him for, that first day after it happened. But when he wasn't getting better and I could just tell something was wrong, we took him to the doctor. They did x-rays. Again, I was expecting they were going to say that he had hurt his back or injured himself somehow. But what they did find was a large mass on his spleen. They did blood work, all the things that doctors do when they don't know what's wrong. And he was anemic. And kind of just by putting 2 and 2 together, we did go back then. They sent him home with some pain pills and some antibiotics, I think. We watched him for another 2 days. He wasn't getting better. He stopped eating. We took him back in. They did a sonogram, and they determined that big mass on his spleen had ruptured. So let me share some pictures. I'm going to do my share screen, and I'll share some pictures of my boy Cooper. And that's what I'll do, is just go back and forth to some images and some short videos and things to let you guys see what I'm talking about as I say it. Hello, Martina. How are you? Thanks for being here today. So let me find my boy Cooper. All right, we'll pull this picture up first. And let's go to share screen. I guess I could just leave it on share screen. You guys will just see me maneuvering around as I go from one memory to another. So here's my boy Cooper. Hey, Joe and Sue, how are you? He was a beautiful, as you can see, a beautiful boy. This picture was taken probably 2 or 3 months before he crossed over. I don't know why that's not showing you that. Let's try it. Nope, that just put me in full screen. All right, so let's minimize this and let's see if you guys can see. Oh, why is that not displaying? That's interesting. So I wanted to show you guys a picture of Cooper. Let me move then. Let's see if this video will play for us. That's funny. I can see it on this other screen, but it doesn't want to pop up on y'all's screen. And is my video frozen? I may be having some issues. All right, so let's go back here. And I'll put myself down here so that we don't lose the volume. This was the picture I was trying to show you. But it looks like when I'm looking in StreamYard, it's only showing you the thumbnails from this folder. So we'll get there. Let me find a video of Cooper. Oh, let's just close that and see. There is so much lag here. Let me make sure I'm sharing the right thing. So give me a second here. And let's try this again. I'm using StreamYard in Google Chrome now because I did read that sometimes those are, so I just have different tabs. Here's Cooper. So this is my boy Cooper, my once in a lifetime heart dog Cooper. Best partner I ever had. He got along with everyone. We could take him everywhere. He was a great ambassador for the breed. He was gentle, but I had no doubt that if it came down to it, he would take care of business if somebody was, where they shouldn't be or was causing a problem somehow. So that's my boy Cooper. Let me just look down here. So before he crossed over, this was the night before he left us. We had scheduled an appointment to take him in because it was just obvious he wasn't getting better. He had stopped eating. That was a huge sign for Cooper because he was very much a foodie. And this is his brother, Mary. This is his little brother, Mary, checking on him. We had a heating pad on him just because the doctor did say it looked like he had some inflammation right around the base of his spine. So there was a possibility that in addition to what was happening with that mass, he had hurt himself. Well, let me get back to chat too. And so we took him into the vet. All right, let's close that one. And let's see if this one will open. All right. And then here we are. This is right after we got to the vet, and they took us in right away. They do when it's time. And he walked on his own into the vet. When we had taken him to the vet a few days before, he couldn't even walk. They had to come out to get him and put him on a stretcher to take him in. He walked in on his own. I was so proud of him for that. And we said our goodbyes. And then things kind of took a turn for the worse. So Bandit's crossing over. We also scheduled that. He had been on anti-seizure medicine for about 5 days, and it was not working. Nothing was working. They told us that he maybe could have had surgery, but because of his age, there were some risks we needed to factor in. And we just weren't in a position to afford it, for one thing, but there was also not a guarantee that it was going to take care of the problem. And he had so many seizures in such a short period of time that the possibility that brain damage would have debilitating effects was very high. So shortly after this picture was taken, he began to have trouble breathing, a lot of trouble breathing. And the tech had come into the room so that we could sign the paperwork and he could prepare us for what was going to happen. And, I had it in my mind that it was going to go smoothly and peacefully like it did with Bandit, but Cooper went into respiratory arrest. They had to carry him out into the big open public. I say public, it's the doctors and techs and things that are working with the dogs, but it's not where, other families are around. Took him out, and not even a minute later, the doctor came in and said, I do need you to hurry. We don't have a lot of time. So we went. They had Cooper on a gurney. He was totally not aware of us. And I could see the signs that he had not been getting oxygen. So, but we were with him when he crossed over. And so I'm grateful for that. I didn't get to sing to him. It was just too hectic. And again, it wasn't private and peaceful because we were out in the big open treatment area. But, no more pain for him, no more suffering. And this breed is very prone to hemangiosarcoma. So that's my boy Cooper. And that was in March, in the early part of March last year. So about a week after we lost Cooper, though, the yin and yang of the universe, our grandson, Archer, was born. He came a little bit early. There were some complications that presented toward the end of our daughter-in-law's pregnancy. And they initially had induced her. They were just going to go ahead and let her deliver. She was within a couple of weeks of being due. But then that's when the complications made themselves known. And they had to do an emergency cesarean. But everything turned out great. He was perfect and healthy. She was healthy and recovered beautifully. Again, this was on the 10th of March last year. His name is Archer Daniel. We call him Archie. And it was definitely a needed spiritual boost for me. And just another reminder that, God provides, and to everything there is a season, and you have to take the bad with the good. But that those of us who are really blessed have a whole lot more good than bad. And so it's hard to hold on to that when you're right in the middle of the bad. But these little reminders are just, more than anyone can deny when it comes to feeling loved and cared for. Hello, Paul's Gaming. How are you? So Archer is the third of my son and daughter-in-law's children. He has two big sisters. He is just beyond adorable. And of course, they're teaching him everything he needs to know as a little sibling. And then in April, so we lost Cooper in March. We've been associated with Good Shepherd Rescue of Texas for a long, long time. We have fostered a lot of dogs. Bandit was a foster failure. Our girl Serena is a foster failure. Our boy Bear is a foster failure. And I had been watching. Well, I'm always watching. I'm always aware of the dogs that are coming into rescue. We're always, at the ready to take in a foster or temporarily babysit if a foster family is going out of town. So I know what dogs are available. And I'd been watching Boone. He was super cute. His name was Jimbo at the time. So when he came into rescue, the rescue gave him the name Jimbo. He was with one foster family for about a week. He got neutered and stayed there to recover. Then he moved to another foster family, and that foster mom renamed him Romeo. He was still listed as Jimbo, but she called him Romeo because he just was such a lover. He loved her dogs. He loved the horses that lived next door to her. And that's part of what I had been watching when I was checking out his videos, was just his interactions with the horses. So he was on my radar. Let's just say that. And I think I can close this now. Well, let's see. Let me see if I can pull up that video. Where is that video? There's the bear video. Oh, well, here's another picture. Let's show you that picture. This is on the day that we went to meet Boone. I just at least wanted to get a vibe and make sure that it felt right, which of course it did. And of course he just was he loves everyone. So he was excited to meet us, and we got to spend some time with him at his foster home. But he came home with us that day. It was just a no-brainer. And we have not regretted that decision one bit. And interestingly, he is taking on a lot of the roles that Cooper had here, again, without any training. And he's younger. So Cooper was 3 or 4 when we adopted him. Boone he had turned a year old at the end of December 2021, and we adopted him on the 2nd of April 2022. So he was just over a year old, but really has shown himself to be another great partner here as far as managing the animals and knowing the rules and keeping the dogs in line. He corrects when we have boarders or fosters that are getting too rowdy or picking on each other. And that really is interesting to me to see how that works. Let me see now from here if I can. Let's see. I'll pull this video up. We won't play the whole thing, but this is the video that went up on the channel. When we brought Boone home to introduce him to Serena. So this is just the drive there. Let me skip to when we get her home. Oh, so this might be fun. This is us meeting. This is us meeting Boone. I forgot this was in the video. Can y'all hear it?
Come here, honey. You want to be in the video? You want to be in the video? Hi, honey. Hi, honey. Hi, honey. Go see Richard. Come here. Hi, honey. Hi, honey. He is just a baby, yes. Just a baby. He's still learning how to be a big boy. Ooh, that sun is so bright that way. Let's go this way. Let's go this way.
So this was our first meeting with him.
Yeah, look at him. Good job. Good job.
His first meeting with Serena.
Good job. Good job. Yeah, so good. I'm gonna let him go. I'm gonna let one loop go. Yeah.
Serena, good girl.
Good girl. That's a new Baba. Let's go see the ducks.
Okay, I won't play more than that, but that was the day we brought Boone home. So again, another great positive experience for us. Not that it makes up for when things are bad, but again, it just balances things. There's no way to ever get rid of all the sadness or all the bad. So we are grateful when we have these reminders that there is good, there is joy, and you just have to find it and hold on to it. So shortly after we adopted Boone, we made a decision to resume our boarding services here at RichKatRanch. That's our company name. That's our family business name. And back in the day, we boarded dogs here full time. 310 days out of a 365 day a year, there were dogs here, including holidays and weekends. And it's a really enjoyable way to provide a service that's really meaningful to families and make a little bit of money as well. So it's kind of my full-time. YouTube and our dog boarding business have become my full-time job because I retired. That's on the list as well in 2022. So we resumed our boarding, and here are some of the dogs that we met boarding last year. Let me get back to, I need to go here. All right, we're going to share a screen again, and I'm just going to show you some clips of the dogs that we met because we resumed our boarding business. Is that what this is? Let me make sure I'm doing the right thing. Yeah, so let me share. And pretty much in the order, I think I'm going to do them in the order that we met them. This first one is Yoda. Oh. And I don't know why this new thing, I have to select the individual videos. So bear with me here. Let me find Yoda. Here we go. So the media player. All right, we're going to share this. This is Yoda. This is Boone's new friend, Yoda, who is boarding with us for the long holiday weekend. And I'm telling you, he's happy to have another wrestling buddy. And you guys let me know if you can hear it.
Be careful. Be careful, guys.
All right, so that was Yoda. Let me find now. After Yoda, we met. Oh, here's a little video, though, of us visiting baby Archer. I forgot I had that in here. Let's see if we can pull that up. That's my granddaughter, Emmy. That's my daughter-in-law, Kim. Isn't he sweet? Okay, so now let's get back to the order of the dogs we met. After we met Yoda, we met Cookie. So let me find Cookie for you. Come on, Cookie, where are you?
having a good time. We got a little bit of time out in the paddock first thing this morning so she could burn off a little bit of anxiety. It's her first visit, but she's...
All right, so that was Cookie. And next we met Harley. Harley is a favorite here, y'all. He's a hoot and a half. He has no idea that he's not a big dog.
Thick as thieves. He keeps up with the big dogs really well. Look at him go. Look at him go. Boom! Seriously. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, he's so sweet, y'all. So he's been back several times. His second time with us, I think that's who's next on my list, was his cousin Hero. So the second time Harley stayed with us, this was, and these I'm jumping ahead through the year just so I can go ahead and get all of the boarders that we've met this year shown to you guys. Hello, Dr. Lund. How are you? Thanks for being here. So I can show you all of our boarders, and then we'll talk about some of the other events that happened after Archer was born in March. So after we met Harley, then he next came to visit when his parents got married, and his cousin Hiro, Hiro, like an anime name, came to stay with us as well.
They don't even care now, see? Come on, Bear. Come on, Bear. Good boy, Harley. I don't know if y'all remember Harley. I'll probably be posting him again a lot because he's just so precious. Serena. Good boy, Hero. Be nice. Be nice. Good boy, Bear. Good boy, Hero. You guys ready to go in? Are you just ready to go in the house? Let's go inside. These are cousins staying with us.
Okay, so I hope you could see Hero there. He's like a little pit bull mix. I say little. He's about the size of our guys. But we had a great time with him. And we also then met Callie and Sargent. Let's pull up their video. My system reorganized things alphabetically, I think. So
Babies. This is Sargent and Callie. Calliope. Hi, baby girl. Hi, baby girl. They get to spend the holiday weekend with us. And they'll go home late next week. Yeah, that's a toy. You can play with that. You want to play with it? Let's get your bed set up. Let's find a spot for your beds. How about that? Here, let's move my shoes and we'll put some right here. We'll put one right here. And we just had a very wonderful introduction. Scoot, baby bed.
So I hope you could see that. The sweet and sad story of Callie and Sargent coming to visit with us is that when their mom booked the reservation, she shared with us that Sargent, he was old. Well, he wasn't as old as you'd think. I think he was about 8, between 7 and 8. And he had degenerative myelopathy, which again is unfortunately all too common in German Shepherd dogs. And it had reached a point already where there were some days that he could not walk, and there were lots of days when he couldn't control his bladder and his bowels. And she wanted him to have, I mean, they were going away out of town, but she said they wouldn't even have agreed to take this trip if she didn't know that she could leave him with us. Again, it was their first visit here, but she had been aware of us for a long time. They just hadn't traveled much after his DM diagnosis. But she shared with me that he was not expected to live very long. She didn't even know how much fun he would really have here because he had some mobility issues, and he had a great time, y'all. He didn't run, but he trotted along, following after the dogs, and just had a wonderful time. We had no trouble with him. And about 2 weeks after he went home, he crossed over. And I was really struck at that point with realizing the opportunities we have had to give dogs just some really fun adventures here, some really positive experiences. Same with all of the foster dogs that have come to us. A lot of them have had really, really tragic pasts. We took in one little foster one year. There was a litter of puppies. She and her brother were the last two in the litter. I don't remember, much about the family that surrendered them, but they had abused the dogs so badly that the little brother, I say little brother, they were from the same litter. He died from his injuries. And when she came here, she was very timid. She was not sure about people at all. I've shared in videos before, we have always let fosters and boarders set their own pace. When they come in, if they want to stay hidden for the first however long, days, however long, we don't push, we don't force it. We do our best. If it looks like they're uncomfortable with our dogs approaching, we do our best to redirect our dogs until the visiting dog can see that our dogs are friendly, that it's a safe place, that it's a loving place. And it usually did not ever take more than, 36 hours, 40 hours, not even 2 days for them to kind of come out of their shells and allow us to pet them. And then for them to want to go outside with the other dogs. So she was pretty timid the first couple of days. Understandably, but then she just turned into the most playful, affectionate, loving girl. She found a home. I think we only had her maybe a week, and she found a home and is just thriving still. And that's been years and years ago. But that was really touching to me to have had Sergeant here just before it was his time to cross over, because he did have a great time. And so then after we met Sergeant and Callie, we met Grounder and Zan.
Come on, babies.
Oops, that's not what I wanted. I've got it playing already. I don't know if you guys can hear it when it's playing already. And I apologize. It wasn't like this when I used Edge.
Come on, this way. Figure out how to hold this camera. Grounder, let's go this way. Come on this way. Come on, honey.
There they are.
You want it, Marla? You ready? You ready? Careful, Zan. Zan. Zan.
I can tell that the video quality is not all that great. So Grounder was the resident dog of the family, and Zan was a foster. So we were, boarding both of them. We always, again, board Good Shepherd foster dogs. If we've got a spot, they can always come. But this particular family, they were fostering Zan, and they were going to go on a trip. So we got to keep both of them. Zan had just been spayed like a week before she came here, and she was supposed to be wearing her cone for like another 10 days, but I think mom forgot to bring her cone. So we just had to watch. She wasn't picking at her stitches or anything, but we were supposed to try to keep her from running. She was like 4 months old. That's a really big challenge to try to keep a 4-month-old puppy from running, but we didn't have any problems. I kept the incision site cleaned and kept antibiotic on it just to make sure, since she was going to be outside, around horse poop and duck poop and stuff, that there weren't any ill effects from her visit. So that was Grounder and Zan. Then we fostered Track. Let me find some Track stuff for you to look at. Where is he? All right. Oops.
Oh, I'm gonna take this one. Good job. Good job. Go find a place and settle.
Here's Track.
Find a place and settle. Not yet. Spring's coming from tomorrow. Here we go. Here we go. Hey, Track. Hey, Track. Hey, Track. Hey, Track. Track. Hi, honey bunny. Hi, honey bunny. Hi, honey bunny. No, off. 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 Good job.
So that was Track. Track was between 8 and 9 months old. And I don't remember what his story might have been. We only had him for 2 or 3 days. There was a family that had already seen him on our Good Shepherd Rescue page. Hello, Connie Cleary. How are you? Thanks for being here. So they were interested in him, but there was a meet and greet scheduled at our property for 3 of the foster dogs in Good Shepherd. There was a family that was interested in all 3 of them, but they wanted to come and meet them. So 2 other foster families brought their foster dogs, and we had Track here, and the family got to meet all of them and spend time with them together and individually in the paddock. They selected they didn't select Track. They selected one of the other dogs. So we were on the verge of just keeping him. So this was before we met Bear. I wasn't sure I wanted a puppy like that. He was a great little dog, but there was another family already that was interested in him. And so they had already notified Good Shepherd that if he didn't get adopted at that meet and greet with the 3 dogs, that they wanted to meet him. So they came like the next day, met him, and he went home with them. So he's a farm dog now and helps with the cattle. He's got 2 dog siblings there. That was a treat to have him with us. So he was just a foster. And then after Track, and they renamed him Mac. So after Track, we first boarded Bear. So the bear, our boy Bear that you guys may be familiar with from videos. First, we just boarded him here, not knowing that he needed a new home, that his family had already contacted Good Shepherd, and that's how they found us. Is Good Shepherd gave them our contact info for boarding. They weren't quite ready to release him yet. Because it was that's always a hard decision. So he boarded with us for about a week. And then he went home. And on the night he went home is when I learned that he was going to be coming into rescue to be adopted out. So no brainer. We said, well, then he just needs to come back here. We'll foster him here. But we were in love just during the time that he was boarding with us. So again, that was not a surprise that he stayed with our family. That's Bear right there.
This way.
That's Bear right there.
Good boys. No, we're not going back over there, honey. We're not going back over there, baby. Bear. Bear.
So that video was kind of a twofer because in that video was also Kane, 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 who we met once we resumed our boarding services. He gets along with everyone. We've had him several times here. It's been a while since his dad's done any traveling because he's had some health issues to deal with. But that was Bear. Bear pretty quickly just became a part of the family. I think I officially submitted the adoption paperwork like a week after he came back to us. So that video I just showed you was the first day that Bear was here. I think it was Kane's second visit here. And Bear was with us for about a week. He came back. And then about a week after he came back, I finally remembered to send in the adoption paperwork. So he is our Urban American Homestead. So he is our third foster failure, technically. Serena was our second one. Bandit was the first one. And then let's see, who else did we meet? After Bear, we met Lexi and Lily. So Lily is a German Shepherd girl, adopted from Good Shepherd Rescue. And her sister Lexi is a standard poodle. Where'd they go? Okay, somewhere here I have a Lily and Lexi video that I can't find. And Lexi is she's 14 at least. When we met her in the summer last year for their first boarding session, we were told she was 14. And then she came back late last year and spent another 3 or 4 days with us. She's deaf, but she gets around good. And I can't find that video, so I may post a picture of them on our community tab, and we'll just move on to the next dog we met when we resumed our boarding, and that was CJ.
We have a new boarder today. He's beautiful. He's big. His name is CJ. He's a European Doberman. And the boys are thrilled to have a playmate. So we'll have a full house this weekend because we'll have another boarder today and tomorrow. CJ will be with us until Wednesday, I think, next week, whatever the 17th is. We did a meet and greet about a week ago, and it went great. Let him use the potty, Bear. This way, this way. This way, this way. Is he gorgeous or is he gorgeous?
Okay, so that was CJ, great big European Doberman. When we met his mom, and she just heard about us word of mouth. She's not associated with Good Shepherd Rescue, and she has had a lot of trouble finding private boarders that will board him just because of his breed. I don't guess I'll ever understand discrimination. Now, obviously, we have German Shepherd dogs, so we have had to experience that a little bit too. A lot of people seem to have some hangups about them, and think they're not safe, or I don't know. Again, I that's all I know, really. I mean, obviously, we've met a lot of other kinds of dogs, but growing up, that's all I ever had. So I don't get it, but people are people, and you can't make them think differently. Hello, John at Pedrosa Travel. Thanks for being here today. So she contacted us and just told me right up front, I'll just be honest with you, I've had other meet and greets with private boarders at their homes, and as soon as they see him, they say, oh, I don't think this is going to work, just because he's big and he's a Doberman. And my thing is, we do meet and greets because that's what's going to determine whether or not the dogs can stay with us, if they can get along with our dogs, if they are responsive, when we call them away from something. He's a great dog. His breed has nothing to do with it. So that was CJ. And then after CJ, the last 2 new dogs we met once we resumed our boarding were the recent dogs, Brutus and Russell. Let's pull this up.
Russell and Brutus. Come on this way. Stop. Come on, honey, let's go this way. Brutus. They just want to be in the backyard. These guys want to be in the paddock, which is a good sign because it means these guys don't even care that they're back. And now you got to go bark at them, huh? Brutus and Russell. Oh, okay. Okay, he's making a poop. We got to wait a second. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy, honey. Good boy, Brutus. Come here, honey. I need to go get his leash off.
Okay, that was Brutus and Russell. Brutus is a Dogo Argentino, an Argentinian Mastiff, the biggest dog we've had board with us. But he's just a big teddy bear. He's a cuddle bug, doesn't realize how big he is. And then his brother, I say his little brother, the little brother is a senior dog. Brutus will be a year old like in another 4 days, 3 or 4 days. But the other dog is a little French bulldog. What a neat combination that was. So that was a big part of our 2022 was resuming our boarding services, meeting a lot of new dogs. Now we had other repeat boarders. I didn't show them all to you. We've been really booked with boarders since we resumed that service. And over the course of the years that we had suspended it, just because of Cooper's age, and we just didn't want his last months or years with us to have so much activity and us to have to divide our time among so many dogs, because German Shepherds don't usually live to 13 even. And so for that last couple of years, we suspended our services in 2019 and then didn't resume them again until April of 2022 last year. But we got calls and text messages and Facebook messages throughout that whole thing asking if we were ready to resume services yet. So a lot of the families that had boarded with us before were on the books first, as soon as we put out the announcement that we had resumed our boarding services. I think I have a little picture of that. I thought I had a little picture, of that Facebook post that we put out. And I mean, like by the next day, we had already had 2 or 3 calls from people who wanted to board with us. And this is what we put up. So Facebook has been good for our family business. It doesn't generate a lot of YouTube traffic for us, but we stay busy with our home business through our Facebook page. But again, once that went up, we started getting calls and texts. So we had lots of other dogs boarding here last year beyond those new ones that I just shared with you. So after the resuming of the boarding, it was fun for me. This didn't like personally impact us, but it was a highlight of 2022 for me, because I think most of you know that I like to watch wild eagles, the bald eagles live stream nests on YouTube. And so in Iowa, there are a couple of eagle nests I watch there, the Decorah Iowa nest and the Decorah North Iowa nest. They're like a mile or 2 apart from each other. And at the Decorah nest last year, I think the eagles were there initially early on in their season, but it wasn't quite time for them to, what was the deal with them? Because this would have been like in April last year. And the eagles just had not been around much. And so no one knew. They had started building another nest. There's no camera there. So I don't know if anyone ever knew if they really laid eggs and hatched eaglets there. But their previous nest, the one that had been live streamed for a long time, was taken over by some Canada geese. Anyway, I won't make you watch that whole thing. That little short actually went up on our channel. And I'm excited to think that maybe for some of you, that's the first time you've watched a goose lay an egg. We raise geese here, and about a week after those geese laid their eggs, our geese, our goose Scully started laying her eggs. So we had goslings. Is that right? So our goslings hatched on Easter Sunday last year. So yeah, they were pretty close together in laying their eggs and hatching their clutches. But that was fun for me to see that happen in an eagle nest. And it's on my highlights reel for 2022. After the geese, the goslings born in an eagle nest, I retired at the end of April from the dental field where I had worked. My first job out of high school was in the dental field, pediatric practice in Arlington, Texas, where I grew up. And I had some other jobs off and on. I did some part-time stuff off and on through all of that, but that was the predominant field of choice for me for a long, long time. I was one of the kids that always thought I wanted to be a doctor when I was little, and I was a pre-med major at UTA before I got married. Decided to put that on a back burner because I wanted to have children early and a lot of kids, which just meant that it stayed on the back burner longer. But I had been in the dental field already before I got married, and it sort of satisfied my calling to serve people in that way. I was always more interested in the clinical side of things than the administrative side of things, but over time, just found myself more in management roles. That's the part I don't mind leaving. The front office part is not as gratifying at all for me. I was good at it, but that's not why I got into the field. So I was very happy to finally be at a place where I was just ready to call it quits, and devote more time to the channel, devote more time to our family business, and just being a homemaker. So shortly after retirement, we became a Sniff Spot location. I talked to you guys before about Sniff Spot. I'll encourage you again, if you have some land to share, and you can, you don't even have to be home. I like to be home because we have to keep the paddock locked so that Cabo and Delilah don't get out or no one takes them. We don't have crime here in South Lake, knock on wood. But a lot of Sniff Spot hosts, they're just not even there at all. It may be property that they own, and people just let themselves in and out of the gate. I like to leave, treats for the dogs and water for the people, and greet them when they get here. And we do a pretty good business. We stay pretty busy with Sniff Spot bookers. I thought I still had that little email I got once we became Sniff Spot providers, but I don't see it. So I can just tell you guys that that was part of what happened for us in 2022, and it's been a good thing. So look into that if there's something that you think you might be interested in, even if you only just have a backyard. A lot of the dogs that come to Sniff Spot locations, they live in an apartment, or it's families that are traveling, so they're staying in a hotel and there's not a place, an enclosed safe spot where they can take the dog and let them run and have some fun. So you don't have to have a big chunk of property. Our guests do a great job of picking up after themselves. That's in the rules. It's part of what they agree to when they book their reservations, is that they pick up their own dog poop and stuff like that. So we've not had any problems with people not honoring that. Nothing gets torn up. And, again, it's a safe spot because our dogs also use this property. So, we know it's secure and safely enclosed, and there's plenty of space where they're not going to encounter other dogs. And we've got some dogs to the north of us. Those neighbors, they come to the fence, but they're friendly dogs. It's not like it's a problem. Nobody's complained about it. So that happened for us shortly after my retirement. And then the next exciting event for us was our granddaughter Cadence graduated from high school. So this is our oldest grandchild. She turned 18 in December last year. Is that right? Yes. She is a track star, field and track. She's a pole vaulter. She selected pole vaulting because she wanted to have better chances of getting a scholarship. So she did gymnastics for a long time when she was little bitty. And, she thought that might be a good way to help pay for college. But there's lots of gymnasts out there. That's a pretty competitive field. And so she decided that it might give her more opportunities if she went into track and then into pole vaulting. So she's a state champion pole vaulter. This was her at her graduation. Before she graduated, she signed with Harding University to be a pole vaulter on their track team. So she's got a scholarship to Harding, and that's where she is now. This was at one of the meets she had last summer. It's amazing to watch her. I know there's just a lot of math and stuff. I would imagine maybe her gymnastics background even helps when you watch some of the positions they have to get into to get over the pole. But she's doing very well. And it's just, again, another reminder of how fast time goes by, that our oldest granddaughter, here was another picture of her. This was her at her dorm the day she moved into her dorm room. So I'll show you that one, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So there she is. This is her sister, Melanie. So her sister, Melanie, also has a gymnastics background. She was in cheerleading for a long time, but she injured her knee severely. I mean, she's had a lot of injuries over the years, but the most recent knee injury has retired her from gymnastics and cheerleading. So she had even done some pole vaulting for a while. Once she caught on to the scholarship opportunities that were out there, when Cadence made the decision to start pole vaulting, she took up pole vaulting, and she did well at that as well. But again, she's really limited now in what she can do because of her knee injury. She's had surgeries on it. She's been in rehab for it for a long time. And they've just finally determined that she's not going to be able to withstand the rigors of training for gymnastics or cheerleading or track anymore. So barring some new therapy that I guess could be out there that we don't know about yet, she's going to have to pick another plan. She's 3 years younger than our granddaughter Cadence, so she's still got some time in high school before she has to decide. Okay, so then the next YouTube-related, very exciting thing that happened for us was that we became part of the YouTube Partner Program, which short story there is that our channel got monetized. And that means that when you watch our videos, advertisers pay YouTube to advertise their stuff, their products and services on our channel. YouTube gets a cut of that, and we get a cut of that. I will ask that if you're not a YouTube premium member, meaning you don't have to watch commercials, let the commercials run, because the longer they run, the more money YouTube and RichKatRanch can make off of those advertisements. So keep that in mind for any of the channels that you support. Once they're monetized, let those ads run. So start the ads. Some of the ads I know can be like 20 minutes long. When I'm at a channel, a friend of mine, I'll start that up and go start dinner, or just go watch another video on another tab while that ad is playing. So keep that in mind for those of us that are monetized. I've said before, I'll remind you guys again, I would love to just make enough money to keep the ducks fed, to keep some of the animals here fed. And you can't make a whole lot, I don't guess, until you have millions and millions of subscribers. I don't think it would be possible to really make a lot of money off of ads, because it really is just pennies per view that any content creator can make. But the longer you watch the ad, the more there is to share. So there's a request for you as far as helping us out now that we're monetized. It also means that when we do live chats, people can send the super chats and the super stickers. Beneath where you type your chat, there's a little dollar symbol. And when people send gifts that way, it also goes into obviously what YouTube pays us. We don't keep all of anything, so YouTube always gets their cut. And those super chats and super stickers and super thanks that we get, I'm just here to tell you guys that all of that goes right back into feeding our animals, and has definitely made a difference for us. Now that I'm retired, we're relying on Richard's income and the income now that I'm contributing to by managing the boarding business and our home and family business. But those super chats and super thanks really do go a long way, because we have a lot of animals. And I just thank everybody that has taken advantage of that little way to support our channel. But that's part of what you get when you become monetized. You also have the opportunity, once you become monetized, to offer channel memberships. So you can sign up for a membership. We have 3 different levels here. 99 cents a month is the first one. And then I think it's maybe $1.99 and $2.99. And again, it's just a nice way to support the channels that you enjoy. And I liken it to having like a Hulu subscription or Peacock or one of those streaming services. If you like the content that you're able to view, that's a fun way to help support the creators in being able to come up with the content and spend the time editing and uploading. We have done some members only events here and there. I want to figure out something that I think would be interesting enough to offer it on a more regular basis. If you weren't here right at the beginning of the show, hey, Brittany, how are you? Thanks for being here. Hey, Bearded Eagle, how are you? Thank you for being here. If you weren't here at the beginning of the show, Richard and I have been brainstorming some things we want to do. I think initially we'll offer them as members only content, or what I've done before is that members will get to see whatever the content is. They get to see it first before then it's released to other people who visit the channel. So we're playing around with some ideas. I'm always open to suggestions if you guys have something you'd like to see us do or try or make. So keep that in mind as well. And let's go to the next thing on the list. We did our first live stream. Now, I had been live streaming animal stuff. So when the geese were incubating their eggs to make us some goslings, that we have live streams for that. And we've had other live streams just, around the property, what's going on outside with the animals. But it was the first live stream. We did our first live stream, like me and Richard in front of the camera, to celebrate becoming monetized. We did prizes that day. We will have some other prizes coming up. I am planning to do gift card prizes once we reach 2,000 subscribers. So it'll need to be 2,000, and it has to stay 2,000 or more for like 4 or 5 days before it really counts. That's the same with us when we reach the 1,000 that you need to be monetized. It's got to stay that way for a while, because again, it's not uncommon to lose subscribers, especially if they're only subscribing to get the number up, but then they don't watch your videos. So keep that in mind. Once we've hit the 2,000 subscriber marks, we'll do a gift card giveaway. We've got a lot of General Motors promotional items here too. Richard brings home pins and ball caps and thermal mug things. We're looking into whether we could give those away. We've got them here and we can't use them all. So if we can give those away, we'll throw those in as well. But tell your friends, share the channel, help us get to 2,000. And then we'll do some prize drawings in a live stream once that happens. So the next thing, again, some of these I've shared are a little bit out of order. We did our first live stream. Then Cadence, no, that's right. Yeah. So Cadence had her graduation. Then we got monetized. Then we did our first live stream. Then we adopted Bear. Then we lost our duck Dublin. So I had shared on the channel about Dublin. I still don't know what might have happened to her. She was just a barnyard mix. I suspect one of her parents was one of our Pekin girls, but I kind of think that maybe her father was one of the wild mallard boys that comes to visit from time to time. So none of the other ducks looked anything like her. She was beautiful. She was big and healthy and strong. And so I kind of thought initially maybe she was just staying away because she had a nest she was tending to. But that's been like 5 months ago now, 4 or 5 months ago now, and we just never saw her again. I'm reluctant to think that a predator got her because, again, she was big and strong and fast and healthy. And we've got other ducks in the flock that are older, they have mobility issues, and they would have been much easier targets. So there's, I guess, the possibility that someone took her. Someone could have seen her and come over the fence. I guess I'd like to think that more than I would like to think a predator took her, because we have not had any other losses since she disappeared. So again, 4 or 5 months ago, I have to look back and see when that really was. And no other losses, even when the old girls that have trouble getting around are out there, dragging themselves around on the pasture sometimes because they've worn themselves out swimming in the pond. But let me just show you a little video so you can see my girl Dublin. Dublin was among the first ducklings that our girls hatched here for me. And in the video I'm going to show you, she is with her sister. Oh, where is that? She's with her sister, Sydney. Well, how do I get rid of that? Let me go back. Let's go back and let's pause it. Okay, so I'm going to pause it here. This is Dublin. Again, just a beautiful, beautiful girl. And her sister, Sydney. So Dublin hatched about 11:30, I think, one morning. And then her sister, Sydney, hatched about 11:30 that evening. They were inseparable. They were always together. So I will never know what happened to her. But she was a very sweet part of the flock. And she just disappeared. It's part of having animals that you have to suffer losses, but it's hard to not know what's happened to them sometimes. So now let me see what's next on the list. The Super Beaks Eagle Nest. So this is another YouTube related thing. I don't think I have any pictures to show you. I did put up a video after I discovered this nest. And obviously the nest has been here a while, but the camera, that live stream was new to me. I don't remember how long the camera's been there, but it had obviously been there long enough that this current season, there was footage from the very beginning of the current season. So there are 2 eaglets there. I'm going to go ahead. Let me show you. Oops. The eaglets now, because those eaglets hatched toward the end of December. So just so you'll know how fast they grow. When I checked in on them most recently, just within the last couple of days. Oops. Here they are now. So let me pull up this live stream. And you guys can be amazed at how fast they grow. All right, let's make this big and then let's share the screen. Let's go a little bit ahead so you can see them. That is a baby. That's a baby right there. So already they're about the same size as the parents, not as heavy, and they don't obviously have their adult feathers, so they don't look like bald eagles yet. I wish he would get in the in the frame a little better. When I saw there, here we go. Those are the new baby eagles. So they were the first ones to hatch among the eagle nests that I watch. And again, right now they're already about the size of their parents. So they're about 4 weeks old. And aren't they just precious? So there's a fun, you guys, to check out Super Beaks on YouTube. All right, and let's see what else is next on my list, and then we're going to play a couple of games. And then last on the list to end the year, we had our first brush with the Ronavirus. Richard got COVID and was down for 2 weeks. He's got some lingering symptoms. He did go back to work after the 2 weeks, and he spends about a half a day in the office each day. He's worked from home a couple of days, but so he's feeling at least better enough to go into the office, but still some breathing issues and still a lot of fatigue. I'm not feeling quite so tired lately. So I'm hoping to be back to kind of my regular schedule as far as the things I like to doing in the evenings. But I want to go over channel stats real quick. So let's present this again. And we're just going to brush down. I may not even talk about all the names. I may just let you guys look. Oh, let me scroll to the top. I think everybody gained. I think everyone gained. I don't remember there being losses. I just ran these stats a little while ago. As you can see here, Ashley at CNC Farm, she gained another 90 subscribers just in the last week. So she's still doing what any content creator should be doing to grow a channel. You guys check that channel out. Yeah, so everybody has grown. Okay, so my friend Dino, that much closer to 100,000. That's what we're shooting for. My friend Connie Cleary that was in the chat, I'm not sure if she's still here, is a friend of mine from that channel. She's a channel member here at RichKatRanch as well. And I spent a little time in the overnight stream last night listening to some old a radio show called Suspense. It's one of my favorites. But what moved me to check in with everyone, because I haven't spent a lot of time there because I've been going to bed early. I didn't have to get up to tend to anyone's horses this morning, so I was able to stay up a little bit later last night. Starting Monday, I've got like 10 days of getting up early to tend to one of our clients' horses. So I'll be back to trying to go to bed at a responsible time. But my friend Connie is from that channel, and I learned that a friend of ours, one of the leaders at the channel, one of the favorite people of all of us who are members at Late Horror Show, our friend Denny, RTN Productions, he has a channel here on YouTube. I don't think he's been active on it for a long while. He passed away, which, as I'm saying it, it almost doesn't make sense to be saying it, but that's been heavy on my heart now since I learned about that. He's been in and out of the hospital and has had some problems, so we were all aware, but tomorrow's not promised, folks. Remember that. Spend time with people that you love and let them know that you love them, because you never know. You don't know when you're going to be called home. So Semper Fi to Denny, and all who are hurting because of his passing. But I want to move on now to some positive things. So again, my friend Dino is at 98,000 plus subscribers. Please check out the channel. Go show him some love and support, and let's help him get to 100,000. Don Ray B. Let's see. I think, again, everybody has grown. There's Peter at 190 something thousand, guys. Love to see him hit that 200,000 pretty soon. Yeah, so this is fun when I can come on and share that everybody at least is either staying put at their number or they've gained a little bit. Growing slowly over time and holding on to your subscribers is always better than, great big boosts because of some gimmicky thing. Uh, and then they don't stick around or they don't come back. So these are all good numbers for everybody. And then let me let you know what we have coming up. Obviously, here's today's stream. We're at 1,890, or at least we were when I checked stats before the stream today. So make that mental note. When we hit the 2,000 subscribers, we'll do some prizes. Next week on the show, I will have Marin from Palma Pioneer Pantry as my guest. And then the following Friday, Brittany from Flannel Hill Farm. She was in the chat a little while ago. I'm not sure if she's still here. She will be my guest on that day. The B after Palmer Pioneer Pantry means that she's going to come on in that 3:00 time slot. So we'll do all of our channel stats and things before she comes on. And then she'll be the guest for the second half of the show. And then Brittany on the 10th. And then new channel for me, Sparrow Spalding. Check her out. She is now more of a life coach, nutritional coach, but she is a licensed therapist, counselor, psychologist. Shares a lot of great stuff on her channel. Sadly, I can relate to a lot of it. So I guess it's good because I have another resource, but she's just super friendly, very articulate, very engaging, and she will be the guest on the show coming up here in another few weeks. So let's spin for channel of the week. Oh, I thought I had that wheel. Yes, my channel of the week. Let's spin for that. I gotta find that wheel. All right, and let's see who we get. Notice I changed up the colors a little bit. Just wanted to do something fresh now that we've officially ended the 2022 information. Hey, yeah, let me look into that, Dancing Alone with Reynolds. Thanks for being here today. That would really mean I've hit the big time, right? And let's see who we get today. Everything but Eagle Streams on my wheel. Reed Timmer. Okay, if you guys are not familiar with Reed Timmer, he is a world-renowned meteorologist. Used to have a show on like the History Channel or something called Storm Chasers. I think it was called Storm Chasers. And that's what he does now. He does a lot of storm chasing. And, he's still a weatherman at heart. So he makes us aware ahead of time when there are systems coming through that would potentially cause trouble, and call for being prepared ahead of time. And it's just exciting. I'm a weather nerd, a science nerd, and have always enjoyed, that sort of content anyway. But check out Reed Timmer. And now let's do some Did You Knows. Let's start with that. I'm loving seeing that you guys are getting involved in music, and looks like John sort of saw Sir Paul McCartney last week and has Billy Joel coming up in his future. All right, but let's do some Did You Knows. Did you know goosebumps are caused by a muscle? At the base of every hair follicle are tiny fan-shaped muscles called arrector pili. These muscles contract when the body is cold in an effort to warm the body up and cause a person's hair to stand up straight on their skin, also known as goosebumps. Let's see. Did you know there's a Starbucks cup in every shot in Fight Club? The urban legend may be false that there's a Starbucks on every corner in every city, but that's not the case in the 1999 film Fight Club, starring Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, and Helena Bonham Carter. The infamous white coffee cup made it to every scene in the movie. Rumor has it this stunt was inspired by a line in the film when Norton's character explains, "When deep space exploration ramps up, it'll be the corporations that name everything. The IBM Stellar Sphere, the Microsoft Galaxy, Planet Starbucks." I've seen the movie, never paid attention to that. Go down a little bit more. Did you know extreme ironing is an actual sport? Ironing, I-R-O-N, like ironing shirts and pants. If you long to combine your love of cleaning with something more extreme, the world of extreme ironing might be the sport for you. Founded in 1997, this challenge proves that it's not for the faint of heart. Competitors have to press shirts in unexpected locations like high up in trees, hanging over cliffs, or paddling whitewater rapids. Who knew? Who knew that? Hello, Jingleberry. How are you? Did you know scientists once gave mice superhero-like night vision using nanoparticles? Who knew that? Raise your hand if you knew that. While testing in a lab, a few lucky mice were granted the ability to see perfectly in the dark when scientists utilized nanoparticles that converted infrared light to visible light. Goes to show you that the Avengers aren't the only ones with superpowers. I wonder why. Well, I mean, I guess they have to try stuff out on mice, right? Before they try it out on us. Did you know ancient cats once led to the extinction of ancient dogs? The tension between cats and dogs goes back way longer than you may think. During ancient times, some 20 million years ago, cats and dogs battled for food and the cats won. How would they know that? How would they even know that? Did you know one of the largest pyramids in the world is a Bass Pro Shops in Memphis, Tennessee? I've seen that pyramid. No, you don't have to go all the way to Egypt to see some of the world's largest pyramids. You just need to head on over to the birthplace of rock and roll. At 321 feet tall with a 535,000 square foot interior, the Bass Pro Shops megastore is one of the largest pyramids in the world and features a hotel, an indoor swamp, an aquarium, and a bowling alley. Wow. The Bass Pro here then is nothing compared to that. Did you know people in medieval England had rap battles? Before rap battles, there was something in medieval times called flighting. This is when two opponents would trade insults at each other, and it was widely popular in the 15th and 16th centuries. There's a video idea. Who knew? Did you know that there's a Guinness World Record for the stretchiest skin? I don't know if I want to know this. Hailing from the United Kingdom, Gary Turner holds the Guinness World Record for the stretchiest skin due to the fact that he can pull the skin on his stomach 15.8 centimeters. He is able to achieve this almost impossible feat thanks to a collagen defective condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Okay. Wow. What a strange claim to fame. Did you know the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth has a name? Raise your hand if you have a fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. I did not know that was a fear. And a side note, if you've never fed peanut butter to a dog, try it. They love it, and it's hilarious to watch them trying to get it off of the roof of their mouth once they take it into their mouths. Okay, so did you know the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth has a name? Sure, it's a common fear to be afraid of snakes or spiders, but if you have arachibutyrophobia, you're among a small percentage of people that have a fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. Let me put that word in the chat. Maybe I'll go to the pronounce this site and have the computer decide how to pronounce it. Okay, here we go. So yeah, I'll pull that up here in just a second. Back to did you knows? This phobia also goes along with a fear of choking or a fear of sticky textures. I did not know that was a thing. So let me pull up this. I just pulled up the how to say it. Let me pull that up and we'll listen to how to say it together. All right, I hope you guys can hear it.
Arachibutyrophobia. Arachibutyrophobia. Arachibutyrophobia.
Okay, I don't know if that helped me. I guess I was sort of close. So if you're ever on Jeopardy, look out for that word. Okay, Dancing Alone with Reynolds says, I have a fear of peanut butter cookies or cake peanut butter in cookies or cakes. With all due respect to George Washington Carver, I believe peanut butter should only be accompanied by jelly. Ah. All right, let's go back to some more did you knows, or at least one more did you know. And then we will move on to some this day in history. Did you know Antarctica is covered in a sheet of ice that's 7,000 feet thick? Okay, so a mile is 5,280 feet. So a mile and a half of ice. Ice. How hard of a freeze? I mean, what temperatures does that take? That's about 19 football fields thick. The U.S. Antarctic program also says that if the ice sheet ever melted, it would raise the sea levels all across the globe to an estimated 200 feet. That's enough to submerge much of the Gulf and Atlantic coastal areas around the U.S. All right, I'm just going to throw this out there. You can call me a weirdo or a conspiracy nut, but when I have a glass of water and then I fill it so that ice is at the top of the glass, as the ice melts, water does not come out of the glass. So I'm always curious about where that comes from, that ice that is currently sitting in or on the water, as it melts, because even if I had ice that was sitting above the top of my glass, I have not had ice melt and come out of my glass. So I just, that's just me. I question that. I don't want to have to find out, but I would imagine these same places that have a lot of ice have been melting and refreezing for a long time. Okay, so that's all we'll do from that one. Now we'll do some on this day in history. On this day, in the year 98, Trajan becomes Roman emperor after the death of Nerva. Wow. On this day, in 661, the fourth caliph of the Rashidun Caliphate, Ali ibn Abu Talib, is struck on the head while praying at the Greek mosque of Kufa, Mesopotamia. Oh, in Kufa, Mesopotamia, he's struck on the head while praying at the great mosque of Kufa, Mesopotamia, by a poison-coated sword wielded by Ibn Muljam Akarijite, and he dies 2 days later. Wow. Okay. On this day in 1302, Dante becomes a Florentine political exile. On this day in 1591, Scottish schoolmaster Dr. John Fian was burned for witchcraft at Castle Hill, Edinburgh, by order of King James VI as part of the Berwick witch trials. Let's go a little farther along. On this day in 1785, the first U.S. state university was chartered in Athens, Georgia. On this day in 1825, U.S. Congress approved the Indian Territory, present-day Oklahoma, clearing the way for the forced relocation of the Eastern Indian tribes via the Trail of Tears. That's kind of current, actually. It sure feels like it's fast as time is going by. On this day in 1870, the first sorority, Kappa Alpha Theta, I guess, came to be at DePauw University in Greencastle, Indiana. On this day in 1894, the first college basketball game, the University of Chicago, at the first college basketball game, University of Chicago beats Chicago YMCA 19-11. Some of these are worded weird with commas in weird places, so either I'm not processing properly or they're written strangely. On this day in 1895, Marius Petipa and Lev Ivanov's revival of Pyotr Tchaikovsky's ballet Swan Lake premiered in St. Petersburg. I'm guessing that doesn't mean St. Petersburg, Florida. Let's go a little farther. On this day in 1918, Tarzan of the Apes, the first Tarzan film, premiered at Broadway Theater. On this day in 1924, Klas Thunberg of Finland claimed 3 gold medals in one day when he won the 1,500 meter, 5,000 meter, and all-around speed skating events at the Chamonix Winter Olympics. 1924. The title of that one is First Winter Olympics, so I guess it was also the first Winter Olympics. Oh, I guess the first Winter Olympics didn't start on that day, though, but on that day. Okay, I get it. We're ahead. On this day in 1939, the first flight of the Lockheed P-38 Lightning took place. On this day in 1948, the first locomotive to carry 1 million pounds, which is 450,000 kilograms, operated. 1948, also on this day in 1948, the first tape recorder was sold. On this day in 1956, where's my Elvis fans? On this day in 1956, RCA Records releases Elvis Presley's single Heartbreak Hotel, his first million seller, which was written by Mae Boren Axton and Tommy Durden. Jump ahead a little more. On this day in 1970, Australian Open men's tennis, Arthur Ashe beats big serving local Dick Creeley 6-4, 9-7, and 6-2. On this day in 1970 also, the movie rating system modified the M rating to PG. On this day in 1973, U.S. Male Figure Skating Championship was won by Gordon McKellen Jr. On this day in 1976, where's my Laverne and Shirley fans? Laverne and Shirley TV spinoff from Happy Days starring Penny Marshall and Cindy Williams premiered on ABC on this day in 76. On this day also in 1976, there's a lot of 76s. 9th ABA All-Star Game, Denver 144 beats ABA 138 at Denver. What does that mean? Oh, All-Star Game. Denver 144 beats ABA 138. Maybe some of you basketball people will know what that means. Also on this day in 1976, Morocco, Algeria battles in West Sahara. Also on this day in 1976, revival of Sidney Howard's Pulitzer Prize-winning 1924 stage drama, They Knew What They Wanted, opened at the Playhouse Theater, New York City, and ran for 23 performances. On this day in 1976, Viv Richards scored his first Test century against Australia. I guess that's cricket, because the picture of him that's here is, it says cricketer and master blaster, Vic Richards. Let's move to, on this day in 1984, Michael Jackson was burned during filming for a Pepsi commercial. Raise your hand if you remember that. Hey, Dino, how are you? Thank you for being here. Condolences on the loss of Denny. I talked about that just a little while ago. It almost doesn't sound real to have to say it. On this day in 1985, the 15th Space Shuttle, 51C, mission Discovery 3, returned to Earth. A lot of sports stuff here. On this day in 1991, Super Bowl 25, Tampa Stadium, Tampa, Florida. The New York Giants beat the Buffalo Bills 20-19 with the most valuable player, Otis Anderson, New York Giants running back. On this day in 1992, presidential candidate Bill Clinton and Jennifer Flowers accuse each other of lying over her assertion they had a 12-year affair. On this day in 1995, Eric Cantona of Manchester United was fined and banned from playing football after attacking a fan. Well, let's move to more current. Oops. On this day in 2019, a tornado strikes Havana, Cuba, killing 3 and injuring 172. Also on this day in 2019, 2 bombs at a Roman Catholic cathedral on Jolo Island, southern Philippines, kills 20. Islamic State claims responsibility. And then on this day in 2020, the former king of Belgium, Albert II, admits fathering a child after DNA tests confirm paternity. And then on this day in 2022, U.S. President Joe Biden pledges to nominate a black woman to the Supreme Court. All right, that was some on this days. I want to play a little bit of wrong answers only. So I'm going to ask a question. You guys toss out your answers in the chat, and we'll kind of collectively decide who has the funniest answer. So, first question. Name a 4-sided shape. Anybody got names for a 4-sided shape? If not, we'll move on to the next one. Name something that rhymes with lake. Again, these are wrong answers only. So what's something that rhymes with lake? Okay. Connie says a ball is a 4-sided shape. Yes. What's something that rhymes with lake that's a wrong answer? Or here's another one for you. Wrong answers only. What is orange juice made from? What's orange juice made from? Wrong answers only. And it's funny how you have to really think more to come up with a wrong answer sometimes. Okay, Connie's playing. Yes, pineapples rhymes with lake. What's the opposite of up? Wrong answer only. Hey, look, Richard, the rich part of RichKatRanch is in the chat. Okay, so let me find. Let's find a picture. I'll put a picture up, and you guys tell me who it is. Yeah, here's a picture. Oops. Except I don't want it to give you the answer there. Shouldn't matter, I wouldn't guess. Okay, here we go. Tell me who this is. Wrong answers only. Oops, pull up the screen. Who is this? Wrong answers only. I see what you did there, Dancing Alone with Reynolds. Opposite of up is PU. Who is this person in the picture? Wrong answers only. Okay, yeah, Jingleberry, SpongeBob SquarePants. How about this? When is this? On what occasion? Oh, let me get to the next thing. On what occasion is this served? Urban American Homestead. Peter Pumpkin Eater. Jack Sparrow. Richard is home from work now. On what occasion is this type of confection served? You can name the horse too if you want. Hey, we're boomers. We're boomers dancing along with Reynolds. Anybody got any wrong guesses on what occasion calls for the serving of this dessert? 4th of July. All right. That's all we'll do for those, but I have another thing I want. Oh, what is this? I don't know how that came up. Another thing I thought I would try. This is interesting to me. So last week, I think I told you guys about, divorce cake, anniversary cake. Last week, I told you guys about ChatGPT. I found another fun application. We're going to try that out. This is a random question generator. And I thought maybe it would be fun to. Hey, we never had anything like that when I went to conventions and things in the dental field. Okay, here's from the random question generator. And I posted the link. Guys, I posted the link for the stream up in the, it's a pinned comment. So right at the beginning, I know you can't scroll all the way back to the beginning, but it's a pinned comment with the link for the stream. If you want to come up and say hello, tell us a little bit about your 2022. If you're a content creator, give yourself a plug for your channel, introduce yourself. But from this random question generator, if you were famous, what would you be famous for? So maybe this will tell us a little bit about you that we may not already know. If you were famous, what would you be famous for? No, these are, you can do, hey, I mean, you could do wrong answers only if you want to, Jingleberry, but this was just it's supposed to be, kind of just to keep the conversation going and get people interacting and sharing. So this one can be right answers. If you were famous, what would you be famous for? Being dramatic. Clam Creations. I'll put these up on the screen. So if you were famous, what would you be famous for? There's Jingleberry's contribution. Here's Connie. And that would be Jingleberry's. That would be an actual answer, not a wrong answer. Anybody else? If you were famous, what would you be famous for? What little known talent do you have that you could parlay into something that would make you famous? Here's another question for those that either don't have an answer or don't want to share an answer to that first question. If you had a job at Disneyland, what would it be? If you had a job at Disneyland, what would it be? I guess I could put these on the screen, couldn't I? Y'all mark it down. Maybe Connie will be famous for that one day. I think this must be Dancing Alone with Reynolds' answer to the question, if you had a job at Disneyland, what would it be? Did you mean chasing the big traffic? Oh, and Connie meant creatures. She uses real clamshells to make creatures. That's fun. I need to become more creative. Although I did rig a a boom. That's my microphone right there. Because I realized after going back and watching some live streams, every time I would type on the computer or put my water bottle down or move anything on the desk, the microphone is so sensitive that you would hear this like pounding noise. I'm sure it drove you guys more nuts than it even drove me because I didn't have to hear it at the time. But I've got it suspended above me. So I hope the sound is still good. Okay, so Connie's Disney World job would be, or Disneyland job would be an ice maker. Cruise director. Oh, look at this. So Jingleberries actually had a job doing something that would be associated with a Disney park worker. What's the worst haircut you ever had? I guess maybe you would have to tell us what made it the worst haircut. What's the worst haircut you ever had? I'll tell y'all. So when I was, I think a junior in high school, I had a friend who was a year ahead of me, and she was taking cosmetology classes. She was going to be she's a stylist now. She's a great stylist now. And she needed a model. So she wanted to know if I would let her cut my hair. And I thought, sure. Well, I have very naturally curly hair. It's not as curly now. The older I've gotten, the less, I mean, it's still curly, but I mean, it was like kinky curly. I could not have short hair because it would just be like a cotton ball. It would just be an afro if it was short because it needed that weight of length to keep it from being out of control. And that was before, I think there was mousse. The hair mousses had become a thing, but there weren't a whole lot of products for curly-headed people that would keep their hair from being crazy if they didn't have the right cut or didn't spend time blow drying it out straight. So I agreed to be her model for her to cut her hair for a test or whatever. Oh, here's another answer to the Disneyland job. Hey, Michelle at Makeup Mom and Son. How are you? Thanks for being here. And then here's a haircut question answer. Anyway, so long story short, she cut my hair and she cut it too short. So this was just before homecoming that year. I still remember because I have some pictures of me wearing my great big Texas, oh my gosh, what were those called? Mums. The mums with the flat. Now, we didn't do it up like they do them now. Now you can't even see the person because the thing is so big. But here I am with my mums and my boyfriend. We're getting ready to go to I guess we were going to the football game. And there's my hair just again, people pay good money to get that, but it was just too short. And I was really self-conscious about it for a while. Of course, everyone said they loved it just to be nice. And it grew back, so it wasn't the end of the world. But that's when I learned anytime I would get my hair cut after that, I just cut my own hair now. But when I would go to get my hair cut, I smoothed it out. Often I wore it straight or curled with the curling iron because I didn't really like it curly. And I would have to tell, or at least I felt like I had to tell the stylist, my hair is very naturally curly, so they would know not to cut it too short. Yeah, it's time for me to cut my hair again, Michelle, too. Let's see. Okay, so Connie's never had a bad haircut. What a blessing. And Jingleberry says, yes. So you just gotta know what you're doing when you're dealing with curly-headed people. And Michelle says she needs a haircut. I'm with you. Let's see one more question here. What is your favorite magical or mythological animal? Wow, that's not something I've had to think about before. What's your favorite magical or mythological animal? Well, you know, I'm a big fan of Rhett and Link, at Good Mythical Morning. I'd love to have them on the show. Anybody knows those guys, tell them I'd love to have them on the show. And what is the name of their they have a rooster. There it is. A cockatrice. Yeah. Let me let's pull this picture up over here. So their like little channel logo thing always has some variation of this mythical. I think it's a rooster, partly because a lot of the renditions of it on their channel, it looks more rooster. Let's see. Hey, Nanny B, how are you? Falcor, is he from the Neverending Story? Is that dragon in the Neverending Story? Let me show y'all this cockatrice. So I'd never heard of a cockatrice until they one time, I think they were doing a question and answer thing, and someone had asked about the rooster that's like in their logo and in their little opening credits screen. So yes, Falcor is from the Neverending Story. I like him too. Yeah, I like dragons and stuff anyway. And so see, he kind of has a little bit of a dragony look, but he's very rooster-like. If you look at these other ones, he's very rooster looking, but with some dragon things. That's really cool. Thunderbirds. Oh yes. Now when I think of Thunderbirds, I think of the stop motion cartoon. And then I had a Thunderbird, a car. Once upon a time, I had a Thunderbird vehicle. A phoenix. That's a good one. Yeah, a cockatrice. Let's go back. Here's the page when I typed in mythical rooster because I couldn't remember his name. A cockatrice. So there's something for you guys to look up. Let's see another question. Have you ever purchased Bitcoin? Oh, a jackalope. Yeah. Yeah. Many a Texan will tell you that we've seen them. Have you ever purchased Bitcoin? I'm afraid of that stuff, y'all. I don't know. It's hard enough sometimes to trust that the bank is really going to keep a good track of my money and let me have it when I need it. I don't know about this virtual money thing. I mean, it sounds great because I'll read things about how, Bitcoin is now worth however many thousands and thousands of dollars. I don't know what somebody might have paid for it before. So I think it must work kind of like stocks. You buy low and sell high, but I just don't know. Who controls that? Who controls what that's worth? How do we have any control over that? We can't even control what, real currency is worth. A la inflation. So I'm just afraid of Bitcoin. All right, here's another one. If you could switch lives with anyone for a day, who would it be? Well, my first thought was that it would just be somebody that lives someplace where I would like to spend a day. So, and I guess this question we could say it could be, it could be any living thing, or living or dead. It could be a fictional character. Yeah, who would I switch places with? Well, I want to say that I would like to, I don't know who's up in the International Space Station right now, but I would love to switch places for a day with whoever's up in the International Space Station, just because I would like to be in the International Space Station. So you could even answer it like that. If you don't have a person, you could say, I would, you want to switch places with somebody who lives in, I don't know, Greece or Fiji or whatever. Switch places with like Nikola Tesla. But yeah, I would just base it on where would I want to be able to spend a day that I might not get to spend a day otherwise. Now I've got to look up some astronauts. Okay, here's one more. Would you go skydiving tomorrow if you had a free ticket? Oops. Wow, that's an interesting one too. Would you go skydiving tomorrow if you had a free ticket? I think I would. I think I would. I have some fears about like bungee jumping only because I have some back problems. Hey, P Hop, how are you? And in my mind, when I watch people bungee jumping, it doesn't look like much of a jolt, but in my mind, there's a jolt when you get to the end of the rubbery thing you're hanging from, and I worry that that would hurt my back. Otherwise, when I watch people do it, aside from the fact that they're screaming as if they're in terror, afterward they seem to be so excited and exhilarated about it that it must be a positive experience. So I don't know that I've ever heard anyone say that it hurt their back to do it, but in my mind, it would hurt my back to do it. Part of that may come from the fact that one of the reasons I have problems with my back is that when I was a senior in high school, I dove off of the high dive at the Helen Wessler swimming pool where we all hung out in the summers. And I didn't have my chin tucked quite enough when I hit the water. And so the water jolted my chin. And so obviously everything's connected, right? So that jolt at the back of my head where my spine starts actually created problems in my lower back. And they come and go. They've come and go ever since. I had decompression therapy on my spine back in like 2004. I had 4 herniated discs that may or may not have been related to that. I don't know. It was the same place that had always hurt after that injury from diving. There's another lesson for you. Did you know you must tuck your chin when you're diving from high distances, because that will cause a problem in your spine that I'm sure could have been a whole lot worse than what I experienced. So yeah, I think I would go if I had a free ticket. I only say if I had a free ticket because I haven't really wanted to do it before now, not because of the cost, but because it just seems counter to what nature would tell you, right? Right? Would nature tell you, would it be a natural thing to be in the air and then want to fall out to the ground? But again, when I see people do it and hear about people doing it, they just say it's the most exciting, exhilarating thing they ever did too. Yeah, zip lining would be up there. Now, I did do a hot air balloon. I had a friend take me for my birthday one year on a hot air balloon ride. That is amazing. So it was a sunrise hot air balloon thing. I want to say we were in the air for like almost 2 hours. And then at the end, you come down and we had the, mimosas. They served us the mimosas. That's a tradition for hot air ballooning, is to have mimosas at the end of it, I guess, to celebrate that you lived being in a hot air balloon. But that was really fun. And the view was beautiful. The weather was perfect. I don't know why I'm thinking of that with skydiving, because that sure didn't seem as dangerous to me as skydiving. Yeah, I would probably do, who just said that? Yeah, I would probably at least have to start doing the tandem thing. I just don't know how I could compel myself to actually ever jump out of the plane. So I would have to be attached to somebody that was willing to do it. Let's see if we can get one more question in. Oh, here's an interesting one. These are interesting. I'll give them that. Would you ride on a hippo if you had the chance? I mean, I think I would. Y'all know I love animals, but I have heard lots of really scary things about hippos. Like, I would rather encounter a bobcat than a hippo. I just, from what I hear, from what I read, they're not very friendly. Now, if it's Fiona, do y'all know Fiona? She's like at the Cincinnati Zoo or somewhere. Cutest hippo ever to be born. Um, so I guess if it was at some kind of a place like that, where it was a Fiona type hippo that had been interacting with humans and, is handled by people regularly, so she's not a killer, then I would do it. Why not do it? Now, I've seen places where you can go and ride on elephants. That looks fun. I hope it's not uncomfortable for the elephant. And I would only do it if it was an elephant that like didn't live on a chain in a cage. And so in my fantasy mind, because I love animals, right, I'm just out in Africa and I come upon a hippo or an elephant and I climb up and take a ride. That's a fantasy, right? Because I love animals, but that's not how it would go. So I think I would do it. Yeah, again, in the wild, that would just be a recipe for disaster. But if it was a place where they were treated well, in spite of having to have people on their backs every now and then, I think I would do it. Okay, so this one, we might do this again. I think this is kind of fun. Yeah, right. That would just not even make any sense at all. There would be no common sense there at all if somebody tried that. And then I don't know if you guys have ever watched, I don't know his name, this man that works with lions, like out in the wild. And I've watched videos where these lions they'll even be like in a pounce mode. They're watching him from a distance and they're getting ready and they run at him. Oh, and then they just cuddle and lick him and hug him. And that's, wow. Why can't life really be like that? And we could ride all the hippos we want. Okay, so I think we've covered everything today. I always appreciate you guys stopping by. Do remember your favorite channels if you're not YouTube Premium members. And if you don't know about YouTube Premium, you can have, again, a subscription. To me, it's like, what's the difference? You could pay YouTube Premium, which I want to say is about $14 a month. And then you don't have to watch commercials when you're at anyone's channel. But if you're going to pay the $14 a month, why not instead pay, $1.99 here for this channel, $2, a couple of bucks a month, and support your favorite channels by having a membership. And then you watch the commercials, go do something else while the commercials are playing, or start another video in another tab or another window, and support them that way. So, I mean, we have a YouTube Premium membership just because I don't want to have to watch the commercials. But when I go to friends' channels that I support, when I'm on another account. So I have my private account and then I have my YouTube account. So when I'm on my private account where I don't have a YouTube Premium subscription, I watch the commercials because I know that's how they make a little bit of money. But check out the channel memberships. If you're interested, any channel that's monetized that has opted into the channel memberships thing, you can, there's a join button. You'll see the word join. So like when you click our join button, it'll tell you the different levels that you can join and what you get by joining. So, I'm a member at a handful of channels just because I want to take that extra step to show them that I support them and that I enjoy their content and that I appreciate them and that I want them to be compensated at least a little bit for the time and effort they put into creating and sharing content with us. So look into that. And I will see you guys next week. Again, my guest on next week's show will be Marin at Palma Pioneer Pantry. Check out her channels, get to know her ahead of time. I'll be sharing some of her videos as we get closer to the show next week. And I found her because I was just searching that pantry challenge. You know, there's a collaboration happening now, the Pantry Challenge 2023. And so I was searching for videos on that, and her video came up. So she was brand new to me. I don't know if any of you already know who she is. The week after that, when I have Brittany at Flannel Hill Farm on the show, I met her through Ashley at CNC Farm. So Ashley was in the chat for last week's RKR Roundup. And we were celebrating her reaching that 1,000 subscribers. And she told me about Brittany's channel, Flannel Hill Farm. So I reached out to her. We're going to get her on the show, and we're going to help both of these channels grow together. That is so fun, guys. I just have to tell you that on both sides of that. So when you're the content creator and you see that kind of a rally from people that maybe you didn't even know that come to support you and help you grow your channel, it feels really good. Again, that's part of why I do what I do here, because that has happened for me. But also when you're like me and you're introducing people to new people, that's really fun to see connections being made and support and love being shown. So I thank you all for being a partner with me in that. I'm going to turn you loose. Be on the lookout. Richard and I are going to come up with some, I hope they're fun ideas for videos that we will share together. So he can't always make the live streams, but we'll record those and upload them just like we do our other videos, just to branch out and maybe get him a little bit more involved in the channel. You all know I have been waiting for that for a long time now. And Jingleberry, I don't know that I fixed it. I just deleted the one I had and uploaded it from the computer. So I transferred the video from my phone to the computer and then uploaded directly from the computer to YouTube. And now it's in the right orientation, but now it has even fewer views than it had when it was in the wonky, stretched out landscape mode. So y'all go check out my latest short. Show Sam some love. Sam is the cat that's in that short making biscuits for me. Y'all go check that out and show her some love. Oh, thank you, P Hop. Yes, again, I was just sharing. I'm going to be getting back into my regular schedule soon. This fatigue seems to have left me now. Next week will be tricky as far as staying up late, but since Peter does his stuff during the day, I will look forward to seeing you all. I just have already committed to myself that I'm not going to get so stressed out about trying to greet everyone because we're just too big over there now. And I missed the whole video because I'm just looking for all the new names and all the people that have come into the chat. So anyway, thank you all. I appreciate you so much. As always, if you're interested in being on the show, I would love for you to send me an email and let me know you want to be on the show. I reach out to people as I come across them, but I know there are some of you out there that have channels that you would like to grow. And I would love to help you do it just by putting you in front of some new prospective viewers and subscribers. And we have a fun time here on the show doing the interviews. I think it's fun. I know it's fun for me. So far, the people that have been guests have told me afterward that they had a great time, even though they were really nervous before the show. So send me a note and let's get you on the show. I hope you're all happy and well. I hope you're having good weather. We've got more frigid temps coming to us, I think, next week here. So we'll be fluffing up pens and things to get ready for that. And do check out our channel memberships. Tell your friends about Rich Cat Ranch. Once we hit 2,000 subscribers, again, I'd rather it be over 2,000 because I know there's always that backslide that happens after a big rush. We'll do some gift card giveaways. And I'll see you guys next Friday. We'll meet someone new together. Have a great weekend. Be safe, be happy, be well, and love to all from Rich Cat Ranch. I'll leave the chat open a little bit so you guys can say your byes to each other.